Sourcing products for Amazon FBA from China is nothing new. However, not many sellers are sourcing products from European countries. In this video, we talk to Yuliya from Zignify about what products you can source from Europe, how to find manufacturers, what to keep in mind when working with a factory with no Amazon experience. Watch this video to find out.
Hello, Julia. I'm really excited to have you here on Orange Klik channel today with me to share some tips about sourcing and educate sellers a bit how to source better for their Amazon business. So before we go to your presentation and to the discussion, could you first introduce yourself and also let us know how Zignify helps Amazon sellers?
So I am one of the founders of a company that is called Zignify Global Product Sourcing. And from the name, you can pretty much get a hint of what we actually do. And that is we help different Amazon sellers find manufacturers for their products globally. We're the type of company who doesn't focus on just one particular country or one particular category of products, but we focus on what the customer actually needs. So for example, if you come to us with one particular product, let's say chicken feed, right? And you say, I want to produce chicken feed in Germany. And I'm going to tell you, you know what? It's not really possible right now because there are a couple of companies in Europe who actually do this, but the scale is not so good. So we recommend you to go to China, to Thailand, and to South Africa, right? So our job is not to only do what you tell us to do, kind of, right? But to help you realize what is the best path towards getting your best product at the optimal combination of the price, quality, quantity, and the rest of the things. I myself, to quickly introduce, have been working in product sourcing for the last 17 years. I lived in Asia for 12 years, including 9 years in China, in Germany since 2017. I started Zignify a little bit under 2 years ago, and currently we're a team of over 40 people, all women, except my better half, who is the only guy that we have. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I always worked corporate. For example, my last employer was Flixbus or the Flixbus. For those who live in Europe, you guys would know I was a managing director there and I was opening up their Russian market, but then kind of went into a business for myself.
Sounds really good. Yeah, we're definitely very excited to get some tips from about sourcing from you. So yeah, go ahead, share your screen and let's enjoy your presentation.
All right, so product sourcing, should I in the first place? If you're an Amazon seller, yes, you should do some product sourcing. And if you don't want to do it yourself, you can always come to us. But that's not the point. The point is to share some valuable information, valuable knowledge that we have for you, simply because, you know what, why not? I believe in go-giving. I told you who I am, so we can skip all of this. But if anyone wants, you can make a screenshot, right? So a little bit more about us. So we work with tons of different sellers, from small sellers who are just starting out to the sellers who make tens of millions in revenue per month, per year. We also work with companies who have nothing to do with Amazon and e-commerce. You know, they do e-commerce or, you know, they don't do online sales whatsoever. So first of all, why you know, a lot of Amazon sellers, they source in China. So we need to consider why there should be additional points in terms of why source anywhere else. I think this is a very, very easy and straightforward answer. We have increase in shipping costs. We have increase in labor costs, utility costs due to many geopolitical situations. The lead times in some places in China, they're decreasing, but not everywhere. And there will be lead time problems for quite some time to come. And of course, delivery times. So these are the major problems that China is facing right now. I'm not saying that other Asian countries are not facing it. They are starting to face it as well. For example, if we look at Vietnam, if we look at Malaysia, in general, their production time is a little bit longer in comparison to China. And plus, they have increased demand right now, meaning they also have later deliveries and yeah, they also had COVID. Let's remember, it wasn't only China who was locked down. So Does that mean that Asia is a no for sourcing? Absolutely not. Asia can still be a yes. And if you consider certain points in your sourcing, then you should definitely go to Asia. What are those points? Those points are very, very easy. So you need to search for a product that is low in weight and volume. So the smaller, the tinier it is, and the more expensive it is, the more awesome your product will be. Because you can. I'm not saying that you can have a higher margin, but you should have a higher margin. You need to make sure that you're contacting on average 30 manufacturers. This is what we do for China. We on average contact 30 manufacturers, and for Europe and the rest of the world, this is about 60. One of the things you can also consider when you're going to, and this does not only go for China, this goes for the rest of the world as well. When you have a manufacturer who, let's say, makes a phone, right? A phone is electronics. The company that produces the phone doesn't make the packaging for it. So what we need to do is we need to find packaging separately. I have a wonderful example. We had a client, his product was electronics. His product went big and he was on the Today Show in the US. And he came to us to do cost optimization. When he came to us, his packaging was purchased from the same manufacturer who provided the electronic product. And the cost of the packaging was USD 1.5, so $1.50. When we started sourcing the packaging separately, the price went down to 60 cents. So we saved him 90 cents. And, you know, when you have even when you have small quantities, that's a very good additional margin. Please do not be stingy. I understand that a lot of sellers who are starting out, they feel like they're spending their last money, and they, you know, sometimes when there is this $200-300 euros on the quality control of the mass production before shipping, and this is, you know, they just spent thousands of dollars on developing the product. They spent a few hundred or 1,000 on developing the brand, etc., etc. And then at the end, when everything is ready and the product is about to be shipped, they're too stingy, or they, you know, think, nah, it's safe in, you know, in order to do quality control before the shipping. So for mass production. We have a lot of clients who came to us. They weren't our clients before, they are our clients now, who came to us and said, oh my God, we received thousands of units. Sample was great, mass production, oh my God, everything's ruined. We lost thousands of euros. We can't do anything about it. And they were right. They couldn't do anything about it anymore. So please invest in quality control. This is something that will keep you safe. And if something, even after quality control, if something later on goes wrong, you can prove to the manufacturer that certain things are wrong, and you can use this to get your money back or to redo your goods. So it's extremely important. So this is a very, very big hint. We have a few customers, and in my history, I've known a few customers who were like, not so great at planning their supply chain. And I understand sometimes the product hits it so big, people are out of stock for like 2,000 units, they're out of stock in 2 weeks. They never realized that they would sell so fast. And then they go off the rails a little bit and they start shipping everything by air. So you need to be very careful with this, because, and I'm sure all of the sellers know this, but it eats at your margin like crazy. So one of the things that you can consider, and this is what we suggest doing to the people who are launching their first product or who have the product that is selling like crazy, is, yes, produce again, but ship only maybe 30% or 20% of the goods by air and ship the rest by sea or rail freight, because it will save you a lot of money. And right now, for those who do not know this yet, there is a new freight train that goes from Xi'an to Mannheim in Germany, and it takes currently about 28 days. It is a little bit more expensive than all the other normal trains, but it's a very good opportunity because it is cheaper than the air freight, but it is faster than the sea freight. You know, so you kind of have this evening out of things. Negotiations. This is the point that I really wanted to mention, and I think this is the point that extremely is extremely important to a lot of sellers. When you negotiate, you need to know exactly what you want, because if you don't know what you want, how can you negotiate? It's like when you go to a hairdresser, right? Maybe for a lot of men that doesn't apply, but I think it does actually. Knowing all of the Amazon sellers, they're very stylish. When you go to a hairdresser and you tell them, I want the most stylish haircut, everyone has their own thought and their own thinking of what that is. So I know this is sometimes this is the easiest things can be the hardest things to decide on and to achieve. But you need to decide for yourself, what do you want to negotiate upon? Meaning, what exactly do you want? Do you want a price that is $1 cheaper? Do you want a faster delivery? Do you want better terms in terms of payment? What do you want? You can't just come to a manufacturer and say, I want things cheaper. I mean, yeah, it sometimes works, but most of the time it doesn't. So first, you need to identify for yourself, what exactly do you want? And from there, you can start negotiating, talking to the manufacturers. And this goes for Europe, this goes for Asia, this goes for any country. Because when you come and you don't have the clarity in your mind, the manufacturers are not very likely to work with you. They want to work with people who know what they want, even if they don't know what they want, but they need to know what they want, right? So, and then this comes to the second point, where communication is key. Be friendly, try to make a personal connection, ask the person, if the person, for example, is in Europe, if it's a factory with whom you will start working and they're in Europe, ask where they live, what do they have any hobbies and things like this. Try to make a personal connection, because trust me, this will go a long way. And in the future, even, sending a gift to your manufacturer for Christmas, this is awesome. We have manufacturers who send gifts to us, because we introduce them to the customers, but we're like, hey guys, no, if you want to send the gift, send it to the customer, things like this. But they send like a chocolate or something like that. So communication is the key. You need to know the costs. You need to know all of the costs that you have, because Amazon has, when you're an Amazon seller, you have so many different things involved in your calculations, right? So you need to make sure that you're calculating everything correct, in an extremely correct way, but you also need to understand all of your costs. So when you're going to a manufacturer, do not just ask them for the product price, right? Make sure that the product includes the packaging, or if it's not, then get the cost for the packaging. That's the first thing. Second, you need to, of course, to include the shipping cost. Third, you need to make sure that there is the import tax, because then you don't have a landed cost. Because imagine your product comes along, you're about to start selling. Oh, I forgot to add another 12% that comes on top from the import tax. Okay, now my margin is close to 5%. What am I supposed to do with this? So you need to be very careful, and you need to understand what actually is included in those costs, and you need to take the time without rushing to make sure that everything is correct. We do this for our customers. For us, it's like one of the basic things, so they know what to deal with. You need to know the country. This goes for any country in the world. It would be great if you can speak a local language, for sure. For example, we have on our team, we have people who speak over 20 different languages. Why? Because if you call manufacturers in France or in Poland, they would say, sorry, I do not speak English, never call me back later, kind of thing, right? And you potentially lose the business. So you need to understand the mindset and mentality of the said country. When in China someone says darling, dear, or tells you, oh, you're fat, it doesn't mean anything good or bad. This is just the way that they communicate. My best friend in China back in the day told me, oh, Yuliya, you're fat. I'm like, thank you. And to them, this is without any offense. So you need to understand this. If you take currently, today is what, July 11th, and there are big holidays. There are big holidays in the Arabic countries. In Arabic countries, we have manufacturers there, so we need to be considerate, and we need to know ahead which countries are open. Should we call them today? And beforehand as well, you need to consider all of those things, especially if you source from China. You have quite a few very large holidays, and before them, everything gets backed up like crazy. If we're talking about Europe, Summer holidays are the worst time ever. Trying to reach out manufacturers in July and in August is it's a very hard job. Yeah, so you need to be considerate of the country, traditions, and holidays. You need to present to the manufacturer what is the mutual gain. Just because you come to them and you would like to place an order with them doesn't make it necessarily interesting for them. Give you an example. In Europe, we get a lot of problems with certain types of manufacturers that you can't even find them online. We have our own ways of finding them, but you won't see them websites or anything like this. They have those factories in their families for like 20, 30 years. And yeah, they're like, okay, I have 2 BMWs in my garage. I have a little house in Portugal, little house in Spain. I'm okay. I don't need any more business. So you need to know how to communicate with those types of people, and you need to explain to them the mutual gain. Yes, the mutual gain is growth, development, long-term partnership, developing new and interesting products together. So this is actually, it's not only about making money. For them, there should be sometimes innovation and interest in there. When someone comes to you with the same thing over and over and over and over again, what do? You're bored. You don't want to do this anymore. You want something new, something exciting. So the mutual cooperation with such a gain is extremely important. And you need to share your plans with the potential manufacturers and with the manufacturers you're on the stage of, for example, getting samples, because you need to make sure that they will be partners for a long term rather than just, okay, I'm a supplier, you come to me once a year, right? And you need to set the goals with those manufacturers clearly. So lying to them and showing them the beautiful future, which is absolutely unrealistic, will bite you in the tushy later on in the progress. So yeah, and this is the, kind of a fight club mild version where the manufacturers, you can bet them against one another. When you do the base, this is why we contact 30 manufacturers in China and 60 outside of China, because at the end of the day, you will get those few who are perfect. Perfection is never real, but close to perfection. And yeah, you can bet them a little bit against each other. Sometimes, we even disclose the names and saying, hey guys, this manufacturer, and we know their clients are this, because you can find that information as well through different import-export records. They gave us this price. And for them, it comes twofold: pride, and then it comes the point of winning the customer. So this is a wonderful strategy as well. In Europe, in Asia, yeah. You need to make sure that you're helping suppliers save money. So because we need to remember that some of the suppliers, they're not as innovative as one would want to be. You come to them and you want them to give you suggestions. And this is the expectation, but the problem is that is not the reality. This is why we come in with our customers, because we know the factories don't give the suggestions, so suggestions come from us, from our company. So sometimes, please don't wait always for those suggestions from the from the manufacturer. Try to give them yourself if you're doing sourcing yourself. And if it will help save manufacturers some money, you will be kind of paying them back and hooking them in a little bit more. Because at the end of the day, we are all in it to make money, right? And the higher margins for all of us, the better we sleep and the better we travel and eat, etc., etc. So, my favorite, one of my favorites is I am not the boss. That is really, really awesome. It works especially well with the Asian manufacturers, but we've tested it in Europe as well, and it did work. So when you're talking to the manufacturer, never present yourself as the boss, the owner, the founder, or anything like this. Say, I am the sourcing, purchasing, head of supply chain, logistics, whatever. Because at the end of the day, you need to bond with the person on the other side. Let's call them sales account manager. And one of the ways to bond is over your very, very bad boss, or very good boss, but usually it's the bad boss. You know what? I have tried to talk to my boss, but I almost cried, but he's not listening to me. I don't know what else to do. Please help me out. It works like a charm. I am not the boss, and I try to convince them, please talk to the boss from your side. Well, let's try to make something happen. We will try to give you more orders in the future, etc., etc. So this works really, really well. Not always, but nothing works always, but it's a very good strategy as well. So one of the things I wanted to mention, and I think this is the problem that I have quickly touched on, is stock, to stock or not to stock. And I've mentioned, please look at the national holidays of the manufacturer of the country where they're located, extremely important. Try to warn them about the orders in advance. Why? Is because they also need to order the raw material, and they order raw material from someone else, right? Someone who produces, let's say, scissors from, I don't know, stainless steel material or surgical steel material. They don't produce steel. They buy it somewhere else, and then they produce it, they make the shape, and then they polish for about an hour. So all of the scratches are out. So try to warn them in advance, because this will help you not only save time and get the orders in, but save money. Because if you will confirm it to them 2 or 3 months in advance, you can sign a paper of the future orders. This is like futures, stock futures, where you buy the rice that hasn't yet been produced in 2 years for the price already that you confirm today. So this is the same kind of thing, and it can save you money, especially in today's day and age. Split ARC, I already mentioned. Backup factories, yes, please have backup factories, and better to have backup factories in a different country. Why? Because we see what the hell is happening in the world right now. You have another corona, you have another war, etc., etc. So a backup country with a backup manufacturer is the best choice. And I mentioned it as well. So in terms of which products can be produced in Europe, wood, furniture, toys, textiles, tons, home, garden, clothing, chemicals for home and garden, and actually quite some few other things like cars. You have health products like vitamins, like powders, protein shakes, and all of that stuff. Cosmetics, huge in European countries, and it's awesome because you have really high standards. So, for all of these chemical textile products, you really have high standards. So if you're producing something for children, right, for example, toys, you have good wood, certified, good manufacturing facilities, lowest amount of chemicals and all of this. Art supplies, canvases, brushes, anything that is related that, even those, what is it, an easel, I think, if I'm pronouncing this correctly. So all of those things, absolutely. And you can even do all sorts of pens and pencils, even in Germany as well. Packaging, many suppliers, Poland and around, for paper, glass-related packaging, jars, bottles, more bottles and more bottles. So absolutely not a problem. And, come to that, glass products in Europe, very big. Italy, Germany, Poland, France. You have perfumes, you have tons of different things that you can produce in Europe. People often ask me, oh, Yuliya, can you just give us a list of what can be produced in Europe? Honestly, I can't, for the reason that the list is so long, it will be absolutely useless to you. My suggestion is always, if you guys are new sellers, think of the categories that you like. At least think what kind of problems do you have at home. I don't know, your door doesn't close properly, or your bathtub plug is leaking and leaking the water or something like this. Go from your problems. From the category, we can give a suggestion of what can be produced where, because tons of things can be produced in Europe. And yeah, I think that's the basics. So you can torture me for information now.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Yuliya, for a very detailed presentation, and also for sharing a lot of tips how to source better, from negotiating to actually deciding with whom to work together. So yeah, I think my first question would be regarding European manufacturers. You said it's not that easy perhaps to find different factories in Europe and also contact them. So can you share us a couple of tips how to find those manufacturers online? Because I think most European manufacturers don't have let's say, a phrase on their website that says like, I manufacture for Amazon sellers or something like this?
Well, this is where the creativity comes in. And here you can't really teach. Well, I suppose you can teach that, but this takes a very long and hideous and hard process. So if you're searching for one particular product, and you can't find, those keywords. This is why all of those companies that have the sourcing AI tools that cost 25,000 euros per month, they don't work so well in Europe because, as you said, they can't find the keywords. So you need to have a creativity, of working in that sense. For example, here I have a vase, a glass vase, over a certain shape, or from a certain glass. So there is a type of glass that is really hard to break and it's sturdier, etc., etc. So sometimes don't search by the products themselves, but search by the specifications, by what features the products have. Maybe search by the material. You need to understand that most of the manufacturers in Europe, they're also limited again in their creativity and imagination. I live in Germany, so when you, for example, you have a problem with your socket, electric socket, an electrician might come and he will say, yes, I can do this and that, but then I cannot connect the two wires because I don't have a certification for this. And then he leaves and I need to hire someone else to do this, right? So please understand that when it comes to manufacturing, it's a very similar situation and picture in there. So you need to come to this creatively and search by the features. There are a few websites like in Germany, WLW, you have the Euro pages, might be useful. Even on Alibaba, you can find some manufacturers who are located in Europe. But in general, it's a lot of, from ourselves, by now, it's already a built-up database. Back in the day, it was a lot of calling, searching, going through government databases, which is really hard to find and really hard to, sort through them. You can also try, again, Google, LinkedIn, Xing. You can try to search through social media, Instagram, Facebook. You never know what can pop there, or someone might post something, one little thing from a village somewhere, God knows where, but then it will be your solution. And that's the point. You only need this one. Well, we usually provide 2 or 3 manufacturers at least, but at the end of the day, you only need this one manufacturer who can do things for you, right? So it's not the easiest job. It's a lot of footwork, so to speak, right?
Okay, very good. And in Europe, are there any good trade shows that sellers might want to attend, where perhaps manufacturers of different product categories get together, or are there any specific trade shows for certain product categories that you are aware of?
Yeah, there are a few. There will be, for example, the White Label Expo in October in Frankfurt. We're also going to be exhibiting there. We were there last year and we were with them in London. There is the Einbach, is it Einbach Messe? I think it's in September, or Einbach, yeah, Einbach. I forget the name, but this is a messe in Hamburg. And but this is about DIY. So they specifically have the DIY products and things like this. There is an exhibit in Netherlands where tons of manufacturers exhibit. Only manufacturers are allowed. So for example, we were not allowed to exhibit because we're a sourcing company. We provide service. We provide service. So this is in Amsterdam, but it was in June, so it already passed. I think it's called PLA or PLN. So there are actually quite a few places that you can go to. There is one in Portugal, also Private Label Expo, a big one. It was in May this year. So a few actually. I can maybe make a list and show you, and you can share the link with your viewers. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice to have kind of a starting point to also check out physical events to get perhaps some ideas or meet some manufacturers. So I think in Europe, it can be quite often that the factory that sellers contact don't have any previous experience with manufacturing for Amazon private label company. So do you have any things to say what to keep in mind, or any advice to give to sellers how they could somehow inform the manufacturers a little bit better about this business model?
The one thing when you start talking to the manufacturers, whenever I work with the Amazon guys before, is they don't understand how much money Amazon sellers can actually make and how many orders can those sellers bring to that particular factory. So even if your company is yet not an example of that, you can explain to them and say, hey guys, there are people who make 20 million, 70 million per year on Amazon alone, not including their own e-commerce website and maybe retail sales. So please understand, this is not a game. This is not like, a child came in, played for a little bit and kind of dropped it. No. And you need to also explain to them what is the point of your business. We know that tons of Amazon sellers right now, some are targeting to grow the business and stay with it and just have it like this as they like it. Others trying to build it specifically to flip it within a few years, right? To sell it and off we go, and to build another brand, another. So you need to explain those things with the manufacturers, with the ones that you're getting close. For example, if you ordered samples, you like them, you need to explain those things. And one of the best things to do is when you work with those manufacturers, when the order is placed, you need to make a PDF file or a Word file or a PPT with explanations of what exactly they need to do. So first of all, of course, you need to have this in your invoices, because in Germany, they charge for everything. Put a sticker on the bottle, that's 10 euro cents, more than the sticker costs. So you need to make sure that you have all of the steps written down. For example, if you're shipping on a pallet, that the pallet's supposed to have 4 stickers right on the side. Maybe it needs to be wrapped in the wrapping thing, maybe this, maybe that. So make instructions very clear when it comes to the order. But again, before that, be open and honest and tell them what Amazon is and what potential there is. And they will be, when they will hear that, they're going to say, oh, really? Okay, I'm ready to talk. We had this so many times.
Okay, nice. And regarding, generally speaking, do you find, or let's say, do Amazon sellers find that when sourcing from Europe, are the prices competitive with, let's say, if we compare sourcing from China?
Prices are competitive for, I'm not going to say for all of the products, but for a lot of the products, prices are competitive simply because, of course, there is a very much lower shipping cost involved. And on a lot of occasions, there is no import tax, especially if we're producing within the EU and the products that are sold on the EU market, then, we're pushti, everything's goody. So yes, we have customers who we switched from China and Asia completely to Europe, and they're very happy. Yeah.
Okay, nice. So thank you so much for taking the time to come to here today and share your knowledge about sourcing. So once more, can you explain how Zignify helps Amazon sellers, and also what's the best way to reach out to you?
We help you. We actually do a few things. We're finding manufacturers. We are verifying them, negotiating with them, getting the prices, all of the MOQs, samples for you. We also arrange for mass production, so we can look after the mass production, that, be like a helicopter parent, that everything's okay in the process. We do quality control before shipping. We arrange for shipping. So our goal is to provide everything from the moment that the customer, an Amazon seller, has the concept of the product to the moment that the product is arriving at the Amazon warehouse. Everything in between, when it comes to product sourcing and supply chain, we can do. Even compliance, the patent research, because some of the customers, of course, they see something that they like and they want to do something similar, but they don't want to infringe the patent. So we help with this as well. But we find manufacturers across the globe for any product in any country. That's kind of the main point. And to get in touch, always an email, always a phone number, +49 176 3239 3675. WhatsApp. There you go. I remember phone number. So our website, www.zignify.net. Yes.
Thank you so much. And that was amazing that you knew that number by heart. So thanks again for joining me. And anyone who wants to source a new product, then definitely contact Yuliya and Zignify. So hopefully see you soon again.
See you soon. Bye.
If you like this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons below. And in case you have questions about sourcing for Amazon FBA, don't hesitate to comment below in the description, and we will make sure that Zignify team will reply. And now I recommend you to watch another video where Kian Golzari answers questions about recent changes in sourcing from China for Amazon FBA businesses.